Hi, it's Angie with News OK. I am with the entertainment reporters of the Oklahoman today. I have got George Lang, Brandy McDonald, and Jean Triplett. We're talking about the Oscars. Who's gonna win? It's coming up Sunday. Yay! Thank goodness the writer's strike's
Absolutely.
over.
Yes,
Great.
It's wonderful.
So tell me, we're gonna start off with Best Picture. Who do you think, what film should win?
Well, it's a pretty interesting field of contenders this year. They're all worthy. I think one interesting thing is I think guns and violence are involved in 4 of them.
That's right.
Yeah, the only one that doesn't feature firearms, I think, is Juno, which is the
it's about
the,
pregnancy.
teen
That's
pregnancy.
not easy either.
Yeah, but
Brutal in its own right. Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. Oscar has always kind of loved these sweeping period romances from England, like Atonement, and psychological thrillers about American corporate corruption, like Michael Clayton. Not to mention sweet and smart and unsentimental pictures like Juno, and of course There Will Be Blood has been called writer-director Paul Thomas Anderson's Citizen Kane. But I think for dramatic firepower and this kind of startling originality and this haunting effectiveness, I think Ethan Joel Coen's No Country for Old Men is just bound to be the big winner. I think it's time for the Coens to win. They should have won with Fargo 10 years ago, in my opinion. They've had other great similar films like Blood Simple and Miller's Crossing, so I'm going with No Country for Old Men for Best Picture.
Brandy.
Well, I think No Country for Old Men is a great pick. I thought it was a great film, very, very bleak. I think I described it over and over again as compelling. It was one of those things you couldn't take your eyes off the screen. But and I do think they will win, and I do think that it is time for the Coens to win. But my pick, the one that I'd like to see win, is Atonement. Oh. It's the movie that it was the one that I watched it and then immediately watched it again after I'd watched it, because it was just so beautiful and so haunting and so terrible to watch. So that's the one that I wish in my heart would win, but I really do think that No Country for Old Men has all of the momentum going in, and it is a great film.
Atonement was wonderful. I loved it. All right, George.
And I totally agree. Atonement, in any other year, I think would be worthy. In fact, straight across the board, all of these nominees are fantastic. But No Country for Old Men was my favorite film of the year. It had absolute master's class acting in it. I mean, everyone from Tommy Lee Jones to Javier Bardem to Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin had a great year last year. He had 3 great performances in 3 different films. And it had a magnificent script. And there's scenes in this movie that are going to be taught in film school for years. So I think, my personal choice is No Country for Old Men, and I think this is the year it will be winning.
Nice. Okay. Well, a lot of people obviously correlate the Best Picture with Best Director. So let's go on to Best Director. What do you think?
Well, that's been one of the mysteries of the Oscars over the years. Is a Best Picture win does not always guarantee its director an Oscar as well. And I think in this particular year, the 2 favorites for Best Picture, I think with most people, is either No Country for Old Men or There Will Be Blood. And I think since the Coen brothers picture is going to win the top honors this year, I think they'll kind of split the blanket, and Paul Thomas Anderson will win for There Will Be Blood.
Okay. Brandy?
Well, it is interesting because Best Picture doesn't necessarily coincide with Best Director. Joe Wright, who directed Atonement, isn't even nominated for Best Director.
Right.
So, but I really do think the Coen brothers are going to win in this category. I think that they are the ones that are just, like I said, have all the momentum going in. They haven't won a Best Director Oscar yet, so I think it is well overdue. But the one that I would really like to see, my sort of sentimental favorite, is Jason Reitman, who directed Juno, because I think it just takes so much. Oscar does not love comedies, but I think it just takes so much to bring so much smarts and humor and just sort of a surprising warmth to this movie. He's done 2 movies now. I think that they will demand to see more of his work before they give him a Best Directing Oscar. But it's a fantastic movie, and it definitely takes a director's steady hand for that kind of movie. So that's my that's my wish, but I think the Coen brothers have got this one wrapped up.
All right, George.
And I completely agree. I think that the Coens are going to win this one. One of the other things, conversely about Best Director being kind of broken off from Best Picture, you have one director, Julian Schnabel, who is nominated for Best Director for The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, and his film isn't nominated for Best Picture, that is a major uphill battle for a director. Because if you're not in the running for Best Picture, you're probably not going to win for Best Director. There's a real foundation for what Gene is talking about them splitting it up this year, because you have a wealth of great films out there. But I still think that Joel and Ethan Coen are going to win it this year.
Right. Okay. Real quick, Best Actor and Best Actress. Who do you think?
Well, I really liked Viggo Mortensen's steely, cool, Russian mob henchman in Eastern Promises, and of course Tommy Lee Jones, his laconic Texas lawman in No Country for Old Men, which he wasn't even nominated for. He was actually nominated for In the Valley of Elah. But I think he gave 2 great performances this season. Those are the only performances I think that come within a country mile of Daniel Day-Lewis, who just sort of burns up the screen as this ferociously iron-willed oil baron. And he comes out about every 4 or 5 years in a film, and it's always an event, and he always seems to get nominated. So, but I think he's a shoo-in this year, Daniel Day-Lewis.
And Best Actress?
Best Actress, I'm going to have to go with Julie Christie. I think she's sort of the odds-on sentimental favorite. She's become one of the grand dames of film acting, and she hasn't won an award since 1966. And she was really great in Away from Her, and she broke a lot of hearts, I just think.
Oh, she was wonderful. That was a great film.
Yeah.
Okay, Best Actor and Actress?
Well, I think that the Best Actor and Actress are going to have to go to the elusive ones as well. You have Daniel Day-Lewis, who's done 4 films this decade, who just sort of shows up every once in a while, puts in this just fantastic, amazing, jaw-dropping performance, and then sort of disappears into the ether. And same with Julie Christie. She very rarely works, but when she does, she just puts in either a very good performance in a very small role, or she takes a leading role that is just sort of an amazing, heartbreaking performance. I think those are the ones that will win. I think Julie Christie deserves to win. I think Daniel Day-Lewis deserves to win. But the one that I really, my, again, sentimental favorite, I really wish that George Clooney wasn't competing against Daniel Day-Lewis, because I think he just totally elevated his game with Michael Clayton. He went from being a movie star to a really great actor in that film.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Okay, Wilbur.
Yeah, and another thing about Clooney is that he's sort of like the modern version of Robert Redford. This is a guy who starts out with sort of being a matinee idol, and then creates a reputation as a great actor later on. That's what he did this year with Michael Clayton. It is his best performance yet. If I had my way with the Oscars, he would be winning. But the fact is that Daniel Day-Lewis turned in what is becoming very quickly an iconic performance. People will be talking about his role here in There Will Be Blood for years, because he completely owns the film. Just an amazing performance. People will be watching this, and saying, okay, actors will be saying, that is the gold standard, for being able to carry a film. As far as actresses go, my personal favorite is Ellen Page. Ellen Page was wonderful in Juno, but she's also 20 years old, and I think that the tendency is for Oscar to award, like Gene was saying, actresses and actors who have been around for years and years. Julie Christie has a lifetime of great performances, but at age, I believe she's 67 now. This is, it has been 40 years since her last.
Right.
So I think she's going to win it.
Right.
I mean, and everybody loves her, and she's always just magnetic to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Well, okay, so you guys are going to be live blogging, right, during the Oscars?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
George
absolutely.
and I will be.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, last year I did a live blog of it. I think this year we've got, Brandy is going to be doing her individual live blog. You're going to be able to see minute by minute what's going on with the Oscars, what our takes are on it, and I think it's going to be really exciting. So, on BAM's blog and on Static blog, we're going to be keeping pace with the Oscars
Right.
on Sunday night.
Following everything, every step.
Perfect. Gene, how are you going to be? Where are you going to be watching the Oscars?
Well, right in front of the TV at home. I'm going to let them do all the work on it.
That's right.
We're just going to have our own little private Oscar party in my house. Yeah.
He's the boss man. He can do that.
That's
You can
right.
do that. That's right.
Thank you guys so much. To read more on their predictions for the whole list, Check out tomorrow's Weekend Look, and that's on February 22nd in the Oklahoman and on newsok.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.